joining us live on Capitol Hill now with the latest on the investigation and the reaction to the Durham Report. Kilmeny Ducart, great to see you, Kilmeny.
John and Bianca, good to be with you. The stunning conclusion to John Durham's 306-page report is that the FBI and the DOJ failed to uphold their mission of strict fidelity to the law when they launched this investigation, suggesting that senior FBI personnel displayed a serious lack of analytical rigor toward the information they received. These were investigative leads that were handed over by Trump opponents when neither U.S. law enforcement nor intelligence officials possessed any evidence of collusion when launching Crossfire Hurricane. And these were the individuals that knew about it. The report says CIA Director Brennan subsequently briefed President Obama and other senior national security officials on the intelligence, including the alleged approval by Hillary Clinton on July 26, 2016, of a proposal from one of her foreign policy advisors to vilify Donald Trump by stirring up a scandal claiming interference by Russian security services. Republican House Majority Leader Steve Scalise weighing in on the substance of that report earlier this morning. Take a listen.
The concerns are, we support men and women in law enforcement. Nobody supports dirty cops. And if there's dirty cops, they need to be rooted out. And we want to start seeing that level of accountability. And the Durham Report shows you a roadmap of where some of that accountability needs to be administered. They need to do their job cleaning house as well.
The FBI responding to the report's findings, saying the conduct in 2016 and 2017 that Special Counsel Durham examined was the reason that current FBI leadership already implemented dozens of corrective actions, which have now been in place for some time. Had those reforms been in place in 2016, the missteps identified in the report could have been prevented. Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, says the only way to bring accountability here is to go through the appropriations process, to use the power of the purse and really be able to effect some sort of control over these agencies. We know he has already summoned John Durham himself to testify next week on Capitol Hill.
Kilmeny Ducart live with the latest from Capitol Hill. Thanks, Kilmeny.
All right, let's get more reaction now from Florida Attorney General, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. Great to have you with us, Pam.
Hey, thanks, John. Great to be here.
So many calls for accountability. A lot of these people are walking around with impunity. It doesn't seem to bother them that they've been pantsed by John Durham in this report. What do you think, based on your experience and your familiarity with what took place and your understanding of how the Trump presidency was sandbagged by this entire situation, what is the appropriate amount of accountability? What can happen moving forward to hold these folks accountable?
Yeah. I think sandbagging is an understatement about what they did. They completely damaged the president, the campaign, and many of those around him. First of all, civilly, they all need to be held accountable for all of the legal fees that these people had to pay as a result of this fake witch hunt. President Trump had said this from day one, and once again, he was right. This was a witch hunt. He's now vindicated. We all knew he didn't do anything wrong, but this is unreal. Hillary was involved in it, Obama was involved in it, the Biden administration was involved in it. Now, as a prosecutor, John, and I don't hear anyone talking about this, and this is so important, anyone at the FBI who was involved in this, they are in trouble. Now, if any of these people, any of these agents, the top down, I don't care who they are, if they made any criminal cases during that time, any legitimate cases, whether or not the people have been convicted or not, Merrick Garland has an obligation to let the defense attorneys know in those cases. These are damaged agents, according to John Durham. They all are damaged agents. So they didn't only damage President Trump and our country, but they could have jeopardized many criminal cases out there. The Department of Justice, they have an obligation, and they should be right now scouring through any cases that those agents have ever touched, because now they are in possession of exculpatory evidence for defendants. And remember, some of these agents have probably touched child molester cases, very, very serious cases, kidnapping cases, and they have an obligation under the law. So this could be very damaging.
It's an excellent point. However, when you look to Americans and you ask them, a lot of people say they have very little confidence that this DOJ will do just that, that it is so politicized. And the House Oversight Committee tweeting, today's Durham Report should alarm every American about how the FBI abused its power to interfere in a presidential election. And, you know, Pam, when you read this, and I suggest every American really get in and read this, because if this can be done to a presidential candidate, I mean, the names, we'll put up that graphic again, the people that were in the room, including Joe Biden. I mean, how do we have any faith that average Joe, us Americans, are not going to get some rogue prosecutor out there going to, you know, try and come after somebody for nothing? I mean, this is where it stands at the very, very top.
Yeah, and it gives new meaning to weaponization of the federal government. And I think everyone sees that. And really, what would have happened had we not taken back Congress right now? You know, we have Representative Comer and all the great representatives out there, thanks to Jim Jordan, and they are going to go after this. They're not going to let it go. They are fighting it. Their committees are fighting it. And what would have happened if we didn't have Congress, at least right now, to hold these people accountable? There have got to be criminal investigations. And by the way, a lot of these people have now retired with full pensions, and some are getting paid by networks. Unbelievable, right?
And as we know, some of them still have access to confidential information. They're still used as sources by other agents. That stuff has got to stop. You know, you mentioned, you know, that Republicans do control the House of Representatives. That does give them some ability to investigate, but that's just 1/3 of the federal government when it really comes to getting answers to this. And I don't think there will be any significant changes unless there is change at the executive level, unless, you know, somebody else comes in to lead the Justice Department. Merrick Garland, you know, he doesn't seem to really want to clean this up. Christopher Wray has promised to make changes based on what we knew earlier from the Durham preliminary report, but none of that seems to happen, Pam. So the question comes again, how can we force some sort of level of accountability here? I don't see how until after the 2024 election.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why President Trump is out there. He's running again, and he can beat Joe Biden. I think that's so important for our country now to understand. And you know, you talked about the weaponization of district attorneys. Look what they're doing. It's no coincidence that all this is being piled on at one time. All these cases around the country against him. So it should scare every single American now what's happening with the FBI, and let's see what Merrick Garland does. Let's see what the Justice Department does based on the Durham Report.
Pam Bondi, great to see you. Take care.
Thanks, Pam.
You too.